As a black man in America, when you heard Kanye say that slavery was a choice, for them to endure that for so many years, it must have been a choice. Like,
You always want to get me in trouble. Okay.
I mean, can you imagine that? So, when do you want to go to slavery today? About 3 o'clock? No, maybe let's do 4. I got some errands to run before I do slavery today. Maybe, I think I'm going to call in sick today. Even though I'm not really sick.
Right. So this is what he meant.
Okay.
I said that. I said, so do you think I was going to do the show. You think Kanye was wrong? Yeah, I think he was wrong. They should have fought back and it was this and that. And I go, there was those who fought back.
Yeah, and they died.
Right.
Right.
So when American says, give me liberty or give me death, that's heroic. But when slaves did it, and since they were separated, treated like cattle, moved into a situation, their mental capacity wasn't strong enough to unify and say, let's go after our oppressor. They didn't see it that way.
Well, but there was also so many things in place to prevent that.
Exactly.
Like the slave masters had perfected the system
Right.
over literally hundreds of years.
100 years.
100 years?
Yeah, so what happened is when a slave would run, he would run from one plantation to the next. So it's like, and if you go see plantations now, if you go see farms now, when you run from one farm, you're just running into farms. And you're barefoot.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. And since at that time, American slave owners felt that black people were equal to cattle and to livestock, if a horse got out of the stable and he ran to another farm, that farmer would bring him back.
You'd return the horse.
So the mentality was they had broken him. So he thought over a certain amount of time, it was people didn't know they were slaves. So he didn't put all that. Harriet Tubman said it. He just agreed with what she said. I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. They didn't know.
Yeah.
So what he meant by that choice is he didn't know there was another life other than that. So they didn't have a choice. So they did what they were taught to do and what their grandfather did and what their mother did and what was down the line. They fell in line.
Yeah, man, it's horrific. And
He didn't understand.
slavery was around in America longer than it wasn't around in America.
Right.
And,
Is that what they mean, let's make America great again?
maybe, man. Maybe. And it wasn't until, you and I have traveled around the world, you don't realize how deeply ingrained racism is in this country until you go to places like Africa or Europe, and so forth, where you just see there's an absence of it.
Right.
And you suddenly, it's almost like living next to a waterfall. You don't think it's noisy living next to a waterfall your whole life until you go somewhere where, there's no waterfall.
Let me tell you how racist we are. I was in Canada, and there was this black guy, this African dude, and I was doing this event, and he was holding a clipboard. So we were running from one event to the next event, and I seen the guy, he was making sure you stayed in. And so I said to the lady, where do I get the next game? She said, the gentleman with the clipboard. And I turned around and I said, the black guy? And she said, the gentleman with the clipboard. That was a white chick that had to say that to me in Canada. So I realized, as an American, I separate and join into their racism thought.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'm indoctrinated.
Yeah.
It's my choice to be this kind of slave, I guess. No, but when you don't know.
Well, look at your last name.
Yeah. Scottish last name. Yo, let me tell you, I got invited to Salley, South Carolina, to the Salley family reunion. It's when the slave owners and the slave masters, descent, get together still, and they have this thing called a chitlin strut. And the guy told me
the slave owners and the slave
from back in the day, descendants, they still have a family reunion.
Okay.
And then he said, yeah, I want you to come check it out. I'm John Salley. There's 47 of us. And so I go to the Travel Channel. I said, you got to let me do this show. You have to, because I don't know whether to punch him or hug him.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll find out something more about Salley. And if that's the way it was, you can't blame these people that live now to what it was. It's only if they hold on to that as being
Yeah, yeah,
dope
man, it's
to 'em.
deep.
So if you see me go down there and have that conversation, you do. I'm going to Africa with my family.
Dope.
We're going to Ghana to start.
Yeah, I've been to Senegal.
Yeah, I want to go to West Coast. Obviously, I know I'm from a West Coast tribe because I love the beach. Not too cool about the desert inside.